So far we've covered commencing form, then repulsing of the monkey, 2, and today 3, which will be kind of a difficult movement, but once you get it, it's going to be maybe one of your favorites, okay? So we want to spend some time learning how to multitask to brush your knee. That's movement 3. And movement 4, as you could see, was the one that we always warm up with, which is parting the wild horse's mane. And for those of you who can think that far, maybe next week and maybe the week after, we do a sideways motion like a crab walk instead of going forward and backwards. And that's a beautiful movement called cloud hands, okay? So more on that later. Let's tackle brush your knee. So without any description or words, I want you to watch for something or many things that make this movement very unique. So obviously, several things are going on. But the more obvious is that we are brushing our knee in a broad sense. The hand brushes the knee. It doesn't brush it this way, but it surely comes across the knee as if it were brushing it. But what is this other hand? Why do we need it? Why do we need it to move? And the basic answer is we need it to move because it gives us balance. If we just did this, we're going to topple, we're going to be unsteady. So this hand actually stabilizes my movement and keeps me upright in a good Tai Chi posture, okay? So we're going to break it down. Oh, and then you saw the feet motion, a little different. But you don't have to worry about that because I was displaying mainly the hand portion and I was advancing. Whereas what we're going to learn for the 10 form is just within the blocks that we're normally doing, not advancing, but going 4 blocks in an area, okay? In a circumscribed area. All right. One hand, you heard me say, is parallel. Normally, if a hand is parallel to the waist, it would be like this. But this is another way of being parallel, equidistant from your body. But in this case, which it should be, it's closer, your fingertips are closer to your shoulder. So can I see you with your left hand? Show me what I mean by parallel, closer to your shoulder. So it's not so parallel where I feel a little squished up, but a certain relaxation where, I don't know, what is this, 5 inches, 4 inches, somewhere around there. So I'm making sure that I have my mittens on, and I come down, out, and around. Okay, can we try that? Parallel higher. Down, out, and around. Why are we going out and around? If our knee is on a bow stance, it's in line with where our feet and knee is or are. For instance, if I'm parallel, I'm going to come out on an L, and I'm going to move that energy, and I'm going to brush my knee. So it has to come out and around. If it just came this way, it would probably not brush my knee, but my thigh, you know, to draw that image a little sharper. So in every case, the hand that's parallel comes out, down, out, and around. Can we try that with a T stance and then an L stance? And don't worry about the top hand for now, okay? So facing like how you are, we're going to be on a T stance, we're going to come out on a heel, and we're going to come out on an L stance, right? Now we're going to put our left hand, which is parallel, okay? So right hand just stays by the side, left hand is parallel. My sense of parallel, where the palm is closer to the shoulder. You're in good Tai Chi posture. We said that this hand has to come down, out, and around. Do it with me. Down, out, and around. One more time. Down, out, and around. Now we're going to put our feet together, our foot together. On a T stance, we're going to come down, out, and around. Does that make sense? Try it again. T stance, parallel higher. L stance, down, out, and around. So we need to synchronize that motion. When we start to take an L stance, that parallel hand comes down. Here we go. T stance. L down, out, and around. Now what did we find out? When we finally finished the around, we were completely done with our bow stance. Okay, follow me. Don't follow me, just watch me, okay? We said we're on a T stance. This is my parallel hand. We need to come down, out, and around, but at the same synchronized motions as what our foot is going to do. Down, out, and around. So by the time I finished my flattening of my foot, my hand, my palm was out and around. But at the same time, when I am ready to disperse that energy that's stored in my back foot and come out on an L, I start to come down. I start to come down. So let's show me how you start to come down. On a T stance, parallel higher. Start to come down. Okay? Start to come out and around. Again, T stance. Down L and around. Okay, when you come around now, make sure that you make that adjustment on the back foot to a 45 degrees. It's no different from the T stance, L stance, bow stance that we've already been practicing. All right, one more time and then we put the other hand together. You know that we need to root down because this is where our energy is. If we were like this, we have no energy dispersed. There's 50% here and 50% here. We need at least a 90% down here so that this is weightless. Here we go. T stance, down L, out, around, bow stance. One more time, last time. L stance, down, out, and around. But that's awkward. We need to put the other hand to help us with our balance. The other hand sits not across my body, but slightly back and higher. Almost as if we're doing repulsing of the monkey. Remember when we repulse the monkey? One centered, the other one doesn't come across our body, but slightly to the back and higher. That's the position I want for the top hand when we do multitask of brushing our knee. So parallel, no problem. T stance, no problem. Right hand, not across our body, but slightly back and higher. And we're glancing at it, not looking at it, but just taking a peek at the top hand. All right? So the ball is being thrown and we're catching it this way, right? Ball from yonder is coming here, so we have our mitten on, okay? All right, and we're looking, glancing at it. Here we go. T stance, down, out, and around. Bring the top hand close to the ear as you brush your knee. Oh, that was kind of hard, okay? So let's practice. Let's just do this. Let's just do this. Down and closer to your ear, just this, okay? And this is an important thing. You cannot come down without doing it together. They are paired, they match, okay? On a T stance, we're gonna do this. Down and to our ear and to down, okay? Now we have to put our feet together. What does the foot do? It has to come out on a heel on an L stance. 3 things. Ready, go. Down, ear, heel. Turn the hips and waist across your knee, bow stance. Sit back, twist step. Left hand higher, right hand parallel on a T. What are we going to do? We're going to multitask. Ear down, heel, turn hips and waist, brush knee. Sit back, twist step, left hand parallel, right hand higher on a T. What are we going to do? Ear, hand, heel, turn hips and waist, brush knee. Sit back, sit down, pivot, parallel higher on a T, multitask, ear, hand, heel, turn hips and waist, brush knee. Sit back, sit down, pivot, parallel higher. Let's take it a little slower. We know we're doing this. Can you do this and warm the hands up? All right. We know that's not all. We know that we have to do this. Now do this. 3 things. Now continue on. After we do this, we're going to turn our hips and waist and disperse that energy. 3 things happen. Ear, down with the hand, out with the heel, turn the hips and waist as we brush our knee. Sit back, sit down, pivot, parallel higher on a T. We're going to do this again, right? But we need to get our heel out. Ear, hand, heel, turn hips and waist, brush knee. Sit back, sit down, pivot, parallel higher on a T. Ear, hand, heel, turn hips and waist, brush knee. Sit back, sit down, pivot, root down, store that energy on a T. Ear, hand, heel, turn hips and waist, brush knee. Sit back, sit down, pivot, parallel higher on a T. Ear, hand, heel, turn hips and waist, brush knee. Sit back, sit down, pivot, parallel higher on a T. Ear, heel, hand, turn hips and waist, brush your knee. Sit back, sit down, hold your ball on a T stance, okay? Pause. All right, now relax, okay? And I see people struggling with it, but when I say struggling with it, I mean it in a really good way. You're trying your best to make your body teach what your mind has processed. And that's the beginning of really knowing more about your body, training your body, keeping your brains, your mind engaged in what you do, keeping it alert. So what I see when I say struggle, you're tackling it in a way that's good only for you. And only you can do that, okay? So very good. It's not easy. I quit learning from Ken when he was impatient with me. And I said, I'm taking lessons from the master, the real master. And it was this very movement, okay? So I'm going to try to demonstrate so that you can see where you need to shore up or get more elements in. I sit back, sit down. I pivot. My hand is parallel. My hand is higher on a T. I multitask. Ear, hand, heel, turn hips and waist. Brush my knee. Sit back, sit down. Pivot. Parallel higher on a T. Ear, heel, hand, turn hips and waist. Brush your knee. Now I'm going to show you something and you say to yourself and observe, what is different about what she's doing? I don't want to do it too much, and you know that you don't want to do it at all. And we're going to figure out why you should not do it. Why? I'm going to topple forward. My post, my cable is bent. It's leaning forward. What do I have to do? I have to bring my knee in line with my toe, and I have to be straight up. That's the only way you can do Tai Chi correctly. Remember that Tai Chi is a martial art. If I practice a habit that's bad, I will never challenge my opponent. All he does is push me down or brush me or interrupt me, and something like that will cause an accident, okay? So we want to practice correctly. We are so involved in what our hands do, we don't remember that we need to be straight up. So right away now, make sure that even if your hands are not too well coordinated, make sure that you're posted, you're grounded, you're straight up. All right, let's try that part now, okay? On a T, parallel higher. Ear, heel, hand, take an L stance, brush your knee not be on your toes, straight up. Sit back, sit down, pivot. Parallel higher on a T, ear, heel, hand, turn the hips and waist, brush your knee, straight up, sit back, sit down, pivot, parallel higher on a T, ear, heel, hand, turn hips and waist, brush knee, sit back, sit down, pivot, parallel higher on a T, ear, heel, hand, turn hips and waist, brush your knee. One more and I'm going to let you evaluate yourself. Sit down, sit back, pivot, parallel higher on a T, ear, heel, hand, turn the hips and waist, brush your knee. Now keep that position and ask yourself, okay, this is a checklist. Is your left hand to the side of your thigh as if it were holding a top of a ball? So the palm has to be facing the ground. Is your right hand centering you as if the ball was coming straight at you and you're able to catch it? Let's look at our knees and our feet. Is your knee in the front not beyond your toe? If it is slightly, what do you have to do? You have to push back and weight yourself so that you're grounded 50-50. Does it mean that you have to throw your back? No, because it will take me out of Tai Chi position. It's very awkward. We need to come back up and we need to keep straight up as a pose. Let's look at the front foot. Is it on a line or parallel to the line? Is our right foot 45 degrees? 45 degrees, okay? Sit back, sit down. Are you lowering yourself on that imaginary stool? When you pivot, that allows you to ground yourself. Once you're grounded, parallel higher on a T. Here we go. L stance, ear, down with the hand, turn the hips and waist, brush knee. There again, you can ask yourself. Now, here's the last evaluation check. Put your hands down, drag your front foot back straight and say, do I have a gap? And what are we looking for? We're looking for that gap. So most of the time when you're learning hand motions, our feet give way and we have a clash. But remember why we don't want the 2 feet in the same line. We recall that if it's in the same line with no gap, how am I going to make that bow stance? Already my knee is in a tight position and it's going to not work. And the drawback is, of course, putting too much pressure on your knee joints. So how do you correct this? An L stance is not just straight ahead, it's out and to the side. Out and to the side so that when you drag it back, there's a gap. Why do we need the gap? We then have room to make that turn to make a bow stance. So now you can see that when we do Tai Chi, what we learned on our feet, laying the foundations on a T, an L, and a bow, must apply to what we do on the top on our torso and our hands. We cannot let it be out of sync and hurt ourselves. So we're doing it for safety, okay? So what happens if you keep on doing that is that I would suggest you take it apart and just mainly train yourself on this, which seems okay once you take it apart. Then you say, well, now I'm ready for my hands, and you got your hands correct, okay? And you still find that you're not getting that gap. Then you have to go slowly, and then you have to say out, out and to the side, and make sure that it's already out and to the side before you then complete the hand portion. Okay? It seems pretty elementary and pretty much an assumption that you would do this, but not all the time, because you're feeling good about maybe how your hands are going. You say, I have a good memory. I know what my T stance and L stance and bow stance are, but we all need reminders. And okay? All right. Let's string it along now. Let's string it along from commencing form and see how it works out. Let's go a little slower, okay? Because we need to process everything that we've seen and experienced. All right? Good Tai Chi posture. Grow within your spine a little taller, but dropping your shoulders. Okay, I'm going to move my feet in. Commencing form. 50-50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 off the ground, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, rotate. Take a deep breath in as you elevate both hands. Shoulder level, drop your shoulders, tuck your elbows, wrists, flex your knees. Center the left hand. Right hand rises up higher, opens to the ceiling, both palms. Glancing at the back hand, bringing it to your ear. Acknowledge that center as you repulse the monkey. Centering, glancing at the back hand that's higher, open. Ear, turn, meet, repulse of the monkey. T stance, parallel higher, multitask. Remember? Ear, hand, heel, turn the hips and waist, brush your knee. Sit back, sit down, pivot. Parallel higher on a T. Glance. Multitask. Ear, heel, hand. Turn hips and waist. Brush knee. Here's a drill. Sit back, sit down. Pivot. Parallel higher on a T. Ear, heel, hand. Turn hips and waist. Brush your knee. Sit back, sit down, pivot, parallel higher on a T, ear, heel, hand, turn hips and waist, brush knee. Sit back, sit down, pivot, parallel higher on a T, glancing, multitasking, ear, heel, hand, turn hips and waist, brush knee. Sit back, sit down, pivot, parallel higher, ear, heel, hand, turn hips and waist, brush knee. Sit back, sit down, pivot, take a pause, holding your ball. Okay, so good. I think everybody has a platform in which they can build from, and that's perfect. Very, very good. All right. If you know that a T stance is this way, and you know an L stance is this way, and for some reason the complication of what's going on the top confuses you, and you say you put your toe out there, you know what? In some ways it's good. And you're telling yourself, no, I need to put my heel out there, because your body is trying to tune in to what your mind knows very clearly. It's working. So to me, mistakes or something incorrect is always better than getting it perfect the first time. If it's perfect for the first time or near perfect, you don't have that much room to grow. But if it's way a little bit off, but you're understanding it, that's in a better position to be. And just realize that only you can make that correction, okay, to coordinate what your mind is trying to tell your body to do. That's the best way to do it. All right, so that's why I think everybody's on the right footing, on the right start on your journey. Okay, I'm gonna give you a little break. I'm just gonna do it for you, okay? I'm going to show you again our lesson, okay? Then I'm going to put some words to it. So the point I want to make is that, yeah, it looks pretty smooth. It can be smoother, but for some reason, what she's doing, what I'm doing, may not match what you're doing, and you're asking yourself why. Okay? The big reason is because my hands go for the ride. I love that term. How do they go for the ride? I set them up and I use my torso, my hips and waist to make it get to the place I want it to do. For instance, when I brush my knee, I set it up where I'm not moving my hands, but they're moving because my energy and my mind is directing it. Watch again. Okay, that's what you want to achieve, okay? Now watch this one. You see what happens? Watch it again. The last one and this one is incorrect. Okay, now watch this one, which is correct. So I can go down each one of you, and you probably have something to say. I'll say it for you, okay? In Tai Chi, the energy and the wholeness of your body is what we want to achieve. We do not want to have puzzle pieces that are loners. We want to put everything together, starting with the strength of our mind and the power of our body, muscle, strength, stamina. So therefore, everything is in a coordinated, make sense, logical way. We are on a T. There's weight posted on the back. We need to disperse that energy and come down. The upper body is now in sync with what our feet are doing. It's helping us to finish off this motion, but keeping us upright and safe. If we did not understand it, and it's okay not to fully understand it, like I said, but we have this all-consuming idea that we need to look nice and finish up this way. This is a step in learning. But get the bigger picture. that if I set my hands up in the right way, all I need to do is disperse that energy by moving my hips and waist, and my hands now go for the ride. Okay? I think you understand it, but the biggest hurdle is to make your body do what you think you hear and understand. All right, let's try. T stance, parallel higher. We're going to brush your knee by multitasking. T stance, L stance, move that energy, bow stance. Sit back, sit down, pivot, root down, parallel higher on a T, glance, multitask, L stance, turn hips and waist, bow stance. Sit back, sit down, pivot, parallel higher on a T, ear, heel, hand, turn hips and waist, brush knee. Sit back, sit down, pivot, parallel higher on a T, ear, heel, hand, turn hips and waist, brush knee. Sit back, sit down, pivot, parallel higher, ear, heel, hand, turn hips and waist, brush your knee. Sit back, sit down, last one. Root down on a T, ear, heel, hand, turn hips and waist, brush knee. Going on, sit back, sit down, hold your ball on a T stance. We're going to part the wild horse's mane. Out on an L, part the wild horse's mane. Sit back, sit down, pivot, hold your ball to center yourself. Out on an L, move the bottom hand, part the wild horse's mane.
Lucille had a great lesson on brush knee. And at least you know generally where your arms and legs are supposed to go. I'm going to try to give you some explanation as to why we do that. Brush knee is basically two spirals. This is going this way, comes across, comes down. This way, come across. Just as this is trying to do, it's coming across. So it's not a movement of here, here, and then coming down, and as this hand is coming up, and then coming back up here all of a sudden, and then trying to figure out, oh, where does this go? It's going to go back down again. It's for all the karate kid fans, wax on, wax off. Spirals, okay? And on top of that, besides doing that, why was it taught? What is the use of spiraling your hands this way? From a martial arts standpoint, you're coming across here. From here, you're coming across here. What can you use that for? You're out here, and somebody tries to strike you, come right back here. It's not just to pledge allegiance, it's coming back. You are looking here. Yep. Took care of that. But in case you miss, this hand is coming up here, just in case somebody wants to hit from the side instead of straight forward. He's coming this way. You get him this way. But if you want to catch him out here, and if you're really an insurance person, you say double shot. I give you an insurance. I protect myself here and I protect myself here. That's why you're getting that up. But then you say, but what are we learning Tai Chi for? We're learning Tai Chi for strength and balance. When I'm up here like this, I'm up here, I'm in Tantin on one leg, but these hands are out here. This leg is here. We're sort of balanced. The upper part, lower parts are balanced. We're centered. And now we're going to say, oh, but we're going to go out this way. So to keep my balance, this hand comes down, and this hand comes up, see? One leg goes up, out, one hand comes up. But what is the total movement of the body? Right here. We don't go anywhere. And then we say, now we're going to move. Then you turn your whole body. And this, from here, you're turning your whole body, and like she said, it goes for the ride. It's the last minute you are applying the power that's coming from here, power coming from here. This is coming down, but it's done this in the last minute. You do that, see? So centered, centered, forward. But as I'm moving forward, I'm still sort of centered, because what do? Of course, I potentially am not centered moving, or I'm in dynamic movement. But if I stay in Tai Chi posture, and I don't do as she says you're not supposed to do, you are in Tai Chi posture. But another thing you take advantage of is I'm spinning on my axis on the top, spiral energy. So I'm not only going Tai Chi posture, I'm doing this, okay? All of these are concepts of Tai Chi from a martial arts standpoint, but we don't want that. All we want to do is move our muscles and stay in balance and move upper and lower body in coordination. So when you do your Tai Chi, it's not just madness of moving your body in random movements. If you keep digging and keep digging, as I told one of the students, the 10 Essentials of Tai Chi by Yang Chen Ku, sometimes you can find the applicability of these concepts in each of the movements that you do.